Wellness Wednesdays with Dre and Smiley. Smiley, man, I got something for you today.
Really, what you got?
So, I was reading an article in Forbes magazine. The title is U.S. Surgeon General cites loneliness as serious mental health hazard in a new report. So, a couple talking points here I just wanted to bring up. One, as it relates to loneliness, the impact of loneliness in mental health. So in this report, the Surgeon General highlights a serious impact of loneliness on mental health. It also suggests that loneliness can create the risk of depression, anxiety, and other mental health disorders. Um, what are your thoughts on that in terms of the impact of loneliness on mental health?
I think it's profound because a lot of times in this era of social media, you don't get those interactions. So even though you may be doing things, you're still by yourself. If you're sitting there on your
Yeah.
phones or you're on your laptop or your tablet, you're not making meaningful human connections. So therefore, that
Mm.
loneliness is amplified because when you turn off the device, there you are with you and no one else. So
Yeah.
loneliness is sometimes you can be lonely with in a crowd of people, but other times, if you're wrapped up in a good book with good characters, you're not that alone, even though you're reading because you feel immersed into the context of what you're reading. But I could see how it can drastically affect mental stability if you're not bonding or formulating or creating a foundation of human connection.
Yeah. The article actually touches on that where social media creates a false sense of connection, right? And so there's a level of connection that takes place through social media, but it doesn't replace that live physical connection that takes place and that we truthfully all need, right? Um, and so it kind of talks about how technology has created a potential risk to our mental health because of how it's being used in some cases. And again, social media is what you just mentioned. Also, in terms of the loneliness in healthcare, um, the article also touches on that. So I'll just read something that I jotted down here. The report calls for healthcare providers to prioritize loneliness as a risk factor for poor mental health. It suggests that healthcare providers should assess loneliness levels in patients and provide resources and support to address loneliness. From from what you've read and seen in the news, that sort of thing, what are your thoughts on how healthcare providers might miss this factor as they're treating patients? And the factor obviously being loneliness. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's real and it's pervasive. I just remember when my mother was in the hospital, and you go and just say she's in a room with someone, and someone visit her all the time. There's someone there. They got to put you out of the room because the visiting hours are over, and then you get other people, and
Mm,
nobody visits them. You're there 4 or 5 times a week, and nobody's visiting this other person in the bed and that's sharing the
right.
room. And I just think about
Hmm.
people who are maybe at home by themselves and they're visited by healthcare professionals, but no, they have no family members or no friends. And once that
Mm,
healthcare professional leaves, they're by themselves. And
hmm.
loneliness, it's sad, but a lot of times it's conscious because sometimes you're like, man, I don't want nobody around me. I grew up with a house full of 20 people. I want to be alone because being alone isn't the same as being lonely from my perspective. One is a decision.
I think in terms of mental health and how much more we are aware of the factors that contribute to poor mental health. My hope is that healthcare providers are considering this factor, loneliness, as they're exploring the problems that are existing with their patient. Loneliness, as it states in the article, contributes to depression, the risk of depression, the risk of anxiety, etc., and other mental health disorders. Um, I do know that I'll share this quick story that during COVID, during the peak of COVID, when you and I and everyone else were on those virtual workout groups, the sense of connection I got from that was great. Before that, quite candidly, it felt somewhat lonely at times, just being cooped up in the house with, you know, my family, whom I love dearly, but having that having that connection outside of that is important. And then for me to, being able to go to the gym, that sort of thing, and then connecting with others, and the work life and that sort of thing. So it's important. I guess the key takeaway is, as we move through our weekend going forward, consider the importance of having a connection. You don't always have to be engaged fully when you're connecting with others, but just that real life connection with people as you have opportunities to can help better manage your mental health. Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.